The Fellowship of Noah being accounted for, it is time this assembly was called to order. Rambros will be presiding over the meeting, if you would be so kind as to inform him of your readiness to proceed. Welcome back, Sophie. I have just been reading about your encounter in the Labyrinth of the Ancients. It pleases me greatly to note that you seem none the worse for the experience. For your reference, I have added my own notes to Graha's preliminary expedition report and begun compiling a Crystal Tower survey log. The information contained therein will be available to you at all times. Should you have any questions, you need only ask. Now, if there are no objections, I shall begin with the summary of the expedition's key accomplishments. In the course of this, our first foray into the grounds of the Crystal Tower, we succeeded in neutralizing the structure's outer defenses, before proceeding to secure the maze surrounding the base of the spire. According to Sophie's account, the labyrinth's defenses were most emphatically active. Disturbingly, her report also mentions a violent encounter with the sentry heavily augmented by Allagan technology. In short, our misgivings were well-founded. The Crystal Tower was not simply thrust above ground by the chaotic shifting of Earth. It has somehow been reawoken. If, as seems increasingly likely, the tower's secrets should prove too dangerous to share with the world, we will have no choice but to contain them. Short of leveling the place, this will almost certainly involve returning its mechanisms to a state of dormancy. To do that, however, we will first need to address the question of how they work, the answer to which most surely the answer to which must surely be waiting for us inside the tower itself. In conclusion, that is where we must go. A task rather easier said than done, if the perils of the labyrinth are any indication. Then I move that all further exploration of the tower be delayed until such time as an exhaustive analysis of the structure's defenses has been completed. Master Garland, may I entrust this task to you? It would be my pleasure. Don't forget about us. It's like you said, Chief. We founded the Ironworks to make sure that technology was used for the right reasons, and that means making sure it's not used for the wrong ones. We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't see this through to the end. Lads, well, I hope you're ready for some back-breaking chores. Well, everything seems to be in hand here, so I shall take my leave of you for the present. If I am to witness this valiant tale unfold with mine own eyes, I must needs hone my martial skills ere we ascend the spire. You'll do nothing of the sort, Graha. Your knowledge may prove useful to Master Garland's investigation. As an observer, I am not, strictly speaking, subject to your authority. Pray, do not mistake my intent, Sophie. I am well aware that I shall never be a match for one of your innate talents, however hard I train. Be that as it may, pray do not allow your skills to rust from disuse during the combat pause. We will need to be fighting fit if our subsequent forays are to prove as productive as this one. Mark me, we have not yet caught more than the briefest glimpse of that which time has obscured. Soon, however, we shall cast off the veil and gaze upon the glory of the Allagan Empire. And, with that encouraging thought in mind, it is time to bring this assembly to a close. Let us all focus on the tasks at hand, that our next expedition may begin all the sooner. Meeting adjourned. Such a terrible mess. Yet it does leave the door wide open, so to speak. One cannot help but be impressed. I'm beginning to understand the reliance you place on adventurers, old friend. So, this is the legacy the Allegan Empire left behind. If my readings are correct, the energy source waiting atop the tower is a match for even the Ultima weapon. Nay, more than a match. A new toy for me to play with. I believe the fates had conspired to deny me just rewards once again, but it would seem they had a greater destiny in mind for me. And so long as my ambition burns, I shall strive to seize it. The dream lives on, Cid. Do not disappoint me. Ah, 'tis you, my friend. You are doubtless eager to hear of our progress on the Crystal Tower. Excellent. I'd be disappointed to hear otherwise. Of course, disappointed is the word of the day, I fear. I'm ashamed to say that there is nothing worthwhile to report. The suns continue to probe the labyrinth of the ancients, and every day brings new discoveries. Alas, the same cannot be said of the Crystal Tower proper. We've not been able to set so much as a single foot inside it. You will recall how the 8 sentinels stood between us and the labyrinth initially. In like manner, the entryway to the principal spire, Sycharis Tower, the Allegans called it, is also protected by technology far more advanced than our own. Cid and I have tried every trick we know of, but without success. Frankly speaking, we are at a loss. It is discouraging, but we cannot give up. There must be a way in. And so the situation stands, my friend. Until we gain entry into the tower, I fear your talents shan't avail us. It will require time that I am loath to waste, but I have a mind to set my people to scouring such ancient texts as we have on hand. Perhaps we can be of assistance. And you are? Be at ease, friends, for we share the self-same goal. I am Unai, and my companion is called Doga. We are scholars of the Allegan civilization, sent by the students of Baldazian to assist in your endeavor. Unai and Doga. Rather unusual names for this day and age, if I might be forgiven for observing, but I digress. You claim to be here at the students' behest, but we have received nary a word of your coming. I am sure you'll not take it amiss if we seem somewhat doubtful. We can only assume that the message failed to reach you due to some mishap. I assure you that we are here to help. What is it, Graha? 'Tis nothing. There was a pain, but it has subsided. Well, this is rather unexpected. Your right eye is the same as ours. The same? You have the Allegan eye as well? The sanguine hue is said to be the trait unique to the Allegans, yet I inherited it from my father as he did from his. Only one child in a single generation is born with the eye. All my life I have sought to learn the truth of its manifestation. If there is aught you know, I implore you to tell me. My deepest apologies, but we have no answers for you. Only one thing is certain. Those who possess the trait are bound by fate to Alleg. As your eye has placed you upon the path you walk, so too have we come here to fulfill our destiny. Absurd though it may sound, it is the truth. It seems to me we have naught to lose by accepting their aid. What say you? If that is your wish, then so be it. Yet, know that I still mean to verify your story with the students of Baldazian, when I am able. I trust there will be no objections. Very well. As of this moment, I name Unai and Doga advisory members of NOAA. Without further ado, let us have them examine the Sycris Tower entrance. I promise you'll not have cause to regret your decision. Sophie, I should be much obliged if you were to accompany our new friends to the tower. Biggs and Wedge are presently surveying the 8 sentinels. The 2 of them can show you the way. Upon approval, pray return to Master Garland. He will brief you on the situation. Upon arrival, I shall join you, Sophie. With Unai and Daga's knowledge, along with our uncanny knack for setting events in motion, I am hopeful that we will finally see progress. Ah, some old faces to lift the spirit, and a couple of new ones beside. Allow me to introduce Unai and Daga. They are scholars of ancient Alag, sent here by our friends of Baldazian to aid in the investigation. We understand you're having trouble circumventing the tower's defenses. 'Tis our hope that we can be of some small assistance. If your attire is aught to go by, your assistance should prove invaluable indeed. To begin with, let me tell you where we stand. Beyond rises Sycris Tower, the principal spire of the structure collectively known as the Crystal Tower. The only way to get inside is through the proverbial front door, the imposing gate you see here. The problem is, we can't get it to open. It's sealed by some mechanism whose workings are an utter mystery to us. Having had no success via more orthodox methods, I went at it with everything from a pickaxe to a Magitech cannon. Nothing so much as put a scratch on it. For a blessing, the gate doesn't try to reduce us to ashes like the 8 sentinels, but that doesn't make it any less effective as a security measure. It's fiendishly frustrating in its simplicity. The only clue we have is the elaborate device carved upon it. A man and a woman, respectant, Allegan royalty by my judgment. Precisely who these individuals were, we cannot say, nor do we know whether the device actually serves a purpose. Like as not, it is purely decorative. If you're thinking to force it, save your strength. It's no use, just ask the calluses on my hands. Rest assured, we do not mean to waste our strength. Indeed, why should we exert ourselves when the gate will open of its own accord? The vibration knocked my controller off. If you heard that, I'm sorry. I don't use a controller for the game, but I do have it plugged in anyway. I don't think any of us expected that to happen. 7 hells, what is this? What did you do? What are you? piercing the heavens and gathering the light, a symbol of mankind's glory and might. Its virtue guarded by gates impregnable, only to those of royal blood answerable, exactly as passed down through legend, I am delighted to see. Beg pardons for interrupting your bewilderment. I couldn't help but notice the remarkable playthings you have acquired. Nero, you're still alive? Garland, Garland. If I didn't know any better, I would say you weren't happy to see me. But I jest. In light of our recent meetings, you have every right to be wary. But rest assured, I am no longer a threat to you. My legion is for all intents and purposes defunct, and my association with it means a tight noose awaits me back in Garlemald. And so I've been roaming this land of Eorzea, a regular itinerant. In the course of my wanderings, I chanced to catch wind of your latest venture. It sounded positively fascinating, and so I decided to come here and join you. After the wrongs you've committed, you think us that gullible? If you are suspicious of my intent, 'tis only my just deserts. But I am determined to make amends. As a gesture of goodwill, I will share with you what I know, starting with these two odd characters. As you are doubtless already aware, the Crystal Tower was the symbol of ancient Alig's might and prosperity. The entry was permitted only to royalty and a select few individuals. According to the records I have unearthed, only royal blood can open the gate. In other words, the Emperor and his progeny were living keys. You mean to say that these two are descended from Alig royalty? Oh, I suggest nothing so glamorous. To put it plain, they are imitations of royalty, living keys born of Alig ingenuity. Clones, I believe, is the name your creators gave your kind. Is that not so? It would seem the time for concealment is past. Pray, accept our apologies. 'Twas not our intent to deceive. We simply wished to avoid causing undue alarm by prematurely making what many would consider deranged claims. If it pleases you, let us return to the 8 Sentinels. There is much and more to tell. Very well. Seven hells. You seriously mean to follow us around? Come, Garland. You know me better than to think that I spoke in jest. What more will it take for us to be reconciled? A gift, perhaps. An Allegan tombstone. It holds the information I just shared with you, and a deal more besides. It used to be the jealously guarded property of the 14th Legion, but it's yours now. I wish you joy of it. I look forward to working together, old friend. Before we begin, pray allow me to apologize again. It was not our intent to deceive you. As you will have surely gathered, we are not scholars sent by the students of Baldazian. Nay, we are clones, copies of people who once existed, given life through Allagan technology. This is rather a lot to take in. If it would not be considered unseemly, might I ask why you and yours were created? And more specifically, what is it that you now seek to do? Answering your questions requires that we revisit Allagan history. Pray, bear with us. The Allagan Empire reached its zenith long before our kind came into being. In that glorious age, the Crystal Tower stood tall as a symbol of Allagan pride. Parents took their children there, that they might learn how the nigh limitless energy it produced brought prosperity to the whole empire. That prosperity, however, bred decadence, and the empire began to show signs of stagnation. This decline was made all the more rapid for want of strong leadership. In a matter of generations, the Allagan civilization became a pale shadow of its former self. Its once gleaming cities fell into despair, and its frontier lands were given over to the wilderness. Lamenting the pitiful state of affairs, one technologist made it his mission to restore Allag to greatness. Amon was his name, and he believed that the ailing empire wanted for but a potent ruler, and none was more potent than its founding father, whom he sought to resurrect. The founding father? You cannot mean Emperor Xandi. None other. As part of his experiments, Amon created clones of the Emperor's descendants. We are the products of that experiment, copies of Unai and Daga. Historical texts mention the reigns of two Allagan emperors named Xandi. It was commonly believed that the second was the namesake of the first. After all, such a custom is not uncommon among royalty and commoners alike. To think that the two were in fact one and the same. Aye, Xandi returned from the grave and assumed his throne once more. And, true to Amon's prediction, the Emperor restored the realm to the glory it once knew. Would that he could have been satisfied with that. In this previous life, the Emperor desired to bring the entire world under Allagan dominion, an ambition that ultimately went unfulfilled. Having been granted a second chance, he was determined to succeed. Realizing that he needed more power to wage his war to conquest, Xandi turned his sights towards a forbidden source, darkness. In order to learn how to harness this power, he converted the Crystal Tower into a restricted research facility. Darkness. Again. Seven hells, what is it with the megalomaniac rulers turning to darkness in their lust for power? Well, at least this one won't be bothering us, being thousands of years dead and all. Would that you were right, Master Garland. Alas, Emperor Xandi is very much alive. Within Sikr's tower he still abides, his ambition burning all the more ardently for his empire's collapse. Wielding the power of darkness requires prodigious amounts of energy. Energy that not even the Crystal Tower could produce. In order to augment the shortfall, Dalamud was created and launched into the heavens. On high it hung, gathering the sun's energy and channeling it to the tower below. Alright, so again, Dalamud was the red moon that was holding Bahamut inside of it. So how it was gathering sun energy and not dragon energy, I'm not sure, but okay. However, a miscalculation resulted in a surge of energy that escaped into the land. This triggered an earthquake of unprecedented violence, the calamity that ushered in the Fourth Umbral Era. In the blinking of an eye, the mighty Alec Empire was laid to waste. Ah, so that's how they destroyed themselves. Okay. Yet, even as the Crystal Tower was sinking into the earth, the technologist Amon, now Emperor Zonde's closest aide, invoked powerful magics and halted the flow of time. Every soul within the structure, the Emperor included, was placed in a deep slumber. In that state, they were to remain until the time was ripe to awaken. Eras came and went. After millennia lying dormant, Dalamund was summoned back to the earth. Its descent triggered the seventh umbral calamity, in the wake of which the Crystal Tower reemerged. At that moment, Emperor Zandi awakened. In his lust for power, the Emperor consorted with darkness and was seduced by its corrupting influence. Even though his empire is now little more than a fading memory, he will stop at nothing to see his ambition realized. Tis for no other purpose but to put an end to Zandi's madness that we exist. This is the mantle we have inherited from our namesakes, the true Unai and Daga. Fearing what might befall the world, the two of them sought to thwart their emperor. They gave unto us their will, that we might carry on their mission should they fail. When we came to our senses within the Crystal Tower, we deliberated a course of action. Concluding that we alone could not overcome Zandi, we struck out to find a worthy ally. It has taken years, but our search is finally over. 'Tis no ordinary woman who can cut a path through the labyrinth of ancients. With you as our champion, Sophie Hiscaris, we are confident that we can end Zandi's dark ambition once and for all. Well, that'll teach me for speaking too soon. Setting my chagrin aside, I see now why you knew about the students of Aldazian among a host of other things. You were observing our investigation the whole time. So, what will we do, Sophie? The world's in grave danger again, and it just so happens you're an expert at saving it. I say, Ebbet, let's just leave. Oh no, I guess we're going in. Okay. We're going in! Yeah! You have our eternal gratitude. Together, let us see the Allegan Empire's dark past laid to rest. It has been our mission to recover the long-lost knowledge of the Allegan civilization. But what worth is that knowledge if it means subjecting the realm to peril? Truth be told, it pains me to think that the Tower's secrets may become lost to us. But the greater good must ever come first. Besides, no quantity of ancient relics can compare to our friends Unai and Daga, living, breathing Allegans. Clones, technically, but okay. And so, I hereby declare a change in Noah's objective. Henceforth, we shall direct all efforts towards sealing off Sikr's Tower. Its dark secrets must never know the light of day. Sophie, as you did for us within the Labyrinth of Ancients, I would have you enter the structure and eliminate hostile elements. Suffice it to say, this includes Emperor Zandi himself. Meanwhile, the rest of us shall examine ways to isolate Sikr's Tower from the outside world. To work, then. I like how that whole time they had Garland, Sid, and Nero, like right here where you could see him. So you like no words were exchanged, but you could see the little interaction, kind of get the idea of what was going on. It's kind of cool. Wait, there's something I must know. My right eye is like yours. Does this mean? You inherited the trait from your father, you said. Know that clones are unable to bear offspring. You have no cause for concern. The elegant eye, you called it, but to us it is the royal eye, owing to the fact that the trait manifests only in those possessed of royal blood. I cannot well explain why the eye runs in your line, but I am disinclined to think it a coincidence. Though you are doubtless impatient to learn the truth, pray, have patience. All will be revealed in due time.
Trying to fix this, but